Hello, it's lovely to connect with you today. My name is Leanne Peters. I'm from templeofbalance.com.au, Temple of Balance on Facebook and Temple of Balance on YouTube. And I'm here to pull some cards and share some guidance for this week ahead. That's this week starting Wednesday the 26th of April through till Tuesday the 2nd of May. So welcome. I want to send out a big extra special welcome to my Temple of Balance patrons, my Pillar of Light family, and all of those of you who support my work through my website. Thank you so much for your support. I'm truly grateful. I'm coming to you live now from Tasmania, Australia, where it is Wednesday the 26th of April here, and the time is exactly 10:28 a.m. So I trust this video finds you well. How are you today, actually? It's intense, isn't it? There's so much stuff happening. So last week's video seemed quite appropriate, and our theme last week was the wolf, the support card, our battle companion. So knowing and reminding us that we're not alone as we walk through this battlefield at this time as we're being tested and challenged. It's very interesting, the stuff that's going on at this time. It's quite interesting. And one thing that I've noticed to really help me through the bombardment of big things happening is to really hone in on my path and make sure that my feet and my attention is honed in on my path and where I'm going, that I can't walk 10 or 20 or 1,000 paths at once. That there seems to be this consolidation of paths and really picking and choosing the stuff that we want to bring with us onto that path. And sometimes it's not even a choice, because sometimes the universe works it out for us. But that's what I'm noticing very strongly at this time. I wrote about it quite in depth this morning or earlier in my current energy report for members today. So I'm looking for, actually before I start doing that, I want to welcome you if you're new to watching. I'm using my oracle cards that I created, my Animal Kingdom and my Speed of Light oracle cards. These have been combined to make a 110 card deck, and I'm using this combined deck to find the best cards for this week ahead. The best cards that the majority of us need. I'm not pulling cards for individuals, so this is general guidance for everyone. So see what stands out and speaks to you personally through the guidance and the cards and the information that comes up today. And I recommend that you take on board what feels right and what does resonate, and let the rest go. And let's see how the week unfolds. So I'm looking for shuffling and looking for the best cards for this week, from Wednesday the 26th of April through to Tuesday the 2nd of May 2023. And I trust the best cards that the majority of us need will find their way to the top of the deck based on the way I choose my cards. So the best cards for the 26th of April to the 2nd of May 2023 are these. Okay, so I'm going to do 2 squares of 4. So 1 square, 2 at the top, 2 at the bottom, and the second square, 2 at the top, 2 at the bottom. Okay, so we have 2 groups of cards. I don't know why things are grouped up right now. Well, I'm actually going to just turn over the first group. So I'm going to leave the second group aside for a little bit, and I'm going to turn over the first 4 cards. 2 Animal Kingdom, 2 Speed of Light. And I feel like we're talking now, well, we're really actually talking about the rest of April, is the feeling here. So let's start with, so I'm going to do something different than I usually do, which is not, I tend to do day by day, day to day, not always, but mostly. I'm not going to do that today. So some people have a freak out because they want to know what's going to happen on this specific day. It's not like that right now. I can't do it day by day. It feels like I want to just group now the end of April and group the end of May. I may change that end of May group by the time I get there, but at this point that's what it feels like. And I'm just going to trust that. So we're talking now Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So we're looking at the next few days that this is probably in effect. So see how this resonates with you. So the first card we've got for the end of April, as we're tying things up and as we're sort of working our way through the ins and outs of April and this time period, we have the pause card, card 25. It says, hold, time, transition, suspension, and limbo. There feels to be like some things are on hold, and some things have been on hold perhaps for a while. Perhaps we knew that something was coming, something was inevitable, something was preparing to occur, but we didn't have a date yet, we didn't have things finalized yet, and things may be starting to sort of break down on that pause, on that waiting now. So we might find as we wind up April, if we haven't found out already, that things are starting to crumble and things are starting to shift and move on things that had been holding and pausing for us for the last few weeks, the last few months. Maybe some of us have been sort of holding and suspended in time, just in some ways waiting for this news or waiting for this date or waiting for something to happen. So it feels like the waiting is crumbling now. And the waiting will be over soon if it hasn't started to resolve itself already. And like for me, some things have already been resolving just like minutes, hours ago. So this is happening like right now. So we're looking at, well, really around the 26th of April, but I'm wanting to bundle this into the rest of the month. So what we might find is that our patience is being tested, and that what has been suspended, what has been hovering, what has been in a holding pattern in our lives is probably starting to crumble. So the plane that's been in the holding pattern for weeks and months, if that was even possible, might be running out of fuel, and soon that plane's going to crash. So there's this crumbling feeling of things that have been held, things that have been suspended, things that have been on pause, things that have been in some void. Things are crumbling now, so we need to in some ways prepare for that, but also deal with the information as things come in. So some of us may find that this pause energy is shifting. We've got the honeybee as well, the honeybee card 32, and it says a short break. So this is for some of us who need a break at this time and maybe organising, or maybe over the next couple of days as we might wind this month up, maybe you've got a break in mind or a day off or something, or maybe you're thinking about planning one for the next couple of weeks or months. So this is about a short break, but it's also about being efficient and really consider how we can be more efficient with our energy and efficient with how we spend our time and efficient with the things that we're doing. So are we, like a good example actually might be procrastination. I find that if I'm procrastinating, which is very rare, I don't tend to be a procrastinator, but when I do, I find that I'm only working half speed or something with what I might be needing to do or doing. So I actually find procrastinating actually makes me work less efficiently, because I've got the brake and the accelerator on at the same time. It doesn't work very well. So I can put procrastination aside and just focus on what I'm doing. I could probably get done in half or even less the amount of time if I didn't have that, as if I didn't have that procrastination attached to that, if that makes sense. So let's make sure as we wind this month up that we're being as efficient as we can be with how we spend our time, what we're doing, and the things that we're giving our attention to. And there is this strong feeling at this time about really having to detach from things that just aren't important to us. They're not priority right now. Maybe they were last week, but maybe they're not today. And we can either put them aside, come back to them later, or maybe they're just not going to be worthy. Maybe we just don't need to put our attention onto those things. So this picking and choosing, this attaching and connecting with what is important and detaching from the things that aren't, so we can really hone our energy and our attention, and the time that we're spending on things is really valuable right now. So this efficiency energy is coming in to support that. We've got card 21, initiation. This says mastery, milestone, progression, and greatness. So as we wind up April, there are some of us going through a period of initiation. Initiation periods are testing. They're tests, challenges, to see if we've really learned what we've claimed and what we think that we've learned, especially in recent months. Usually initiations are like the exam that we sit at the end of the school year after we've learned all the things we needed to during that year or that term or whatever it was, and then we sit the exam to see if we have actually really learnt this. And this seems to happen in life. So when we go through periods of initiation like we are now, it's like a final test, if you like, to see if we really are ready and we really are as qualified or as capable as we maybe think that we are. So there might be a bit of a final challenge, a final test, an exam, an initiation of some sort at this time to test us and see if we really are ready. What I like to do when I'm noticing that it is an initiation or like an exam is that I like to go over my journal sometimes or reflect back on the last weeks or a couple of months to when I was actually tested on this before. And have I really learned what I claimed that I've learned? Because this period will test that. Have we really learned or have we been pretending? So this is like that test. And basically it's an initiation to see if we've really learned that and if we really are truly ready to go to the next level and to really step up into what's calling us now or what we're being pushed into, because some of it's not through choice. So we might be pushed into a new position or called to step up because we have to. Not necessarily because we want to, but life calls us to do this. So are we going to live up to that responsibility that we are wearing, that we need to maybe maintain to get through this period of initiation and move to that next level for us personally and these areas of our life? And the other card for the end of April, so now till around the end of the month, is the Rabbit, card 16. And it says to make your move, even if you feel scared or petrified, because the rabbit here is paralyzed with fear. You know, can I do this? Am I really qualified for this? Do I want to step up? Probably not, but we have to. You know, sometimes we just have to, and there is a lot of that around at the moment. So even though we might feel scared, our lower self and our fear wants to stop us from going to that next level. It wants to keep us small. It wants to keep us held back. It wants to keep us doubting and doubting in our abilities and our capabilities. So we're being encouraged through the Rabbit to feel our fear, to bring up our courage to overtake that fear in some ways, and to push forward and make our move. That we are ready because it's coming up now. If we weren't ready, it wouldn't be happening. If we weren't ready, it wouldn't be showing up. So once we build our courage and strength to push through this testing period of initiation, we are then ready to make our move, to proceed. So there's movement in this, there's action, there's a forward momentum that wants to come forward, but some of us may feel paralyzed in fear. So it's whether we listen to that fear and have it stop us, or whether we listen to it, notice it, bring rise to our courage and move forward anyway. And in some cases we don't have a choice. We really don't have a choice. So are we ready to step up and see if we can do this? Are we ready to step up and take responsibility for the things that we're responsible for? So these are the things that are coming up at this time. So the Rabbit, make your move. Make your move by the end of this month. Now, if you just joined in, I've got two bunches of cards. I've got a set of 4, which I've just read for the end of April, and a set of 4 that I haven't looked at, which feels to me to be the start of May. Now, I want to also overlap, so I'm actually going to pull these 4 cards over the next ones for Sunday as we wind up April through Monday and Tuesday, the 1st and the 2nd of May. So we're winding things up at the end of the month, and if we can do that in the next couple of days, then this new energy will come through probably on Sunday. Okay, so let's turn these over. Okay, interesting. So from Sunday, potentially, so at the very end of April into May, we have Tiger Claw. Tiger Claw is card 40, and it says, stand your ground, speak up, take action, and courage. So this is the courage we've already been mustering. So as we moved out of that rabbit energy, that paralyzed with fear, but we know we've got to move anyway, so we might as well summon our strength and courage and be as brave as we can to head into what we need to head into. We can't turn back now, you know. It's like the baby coming out of the birth canal. It can't exactly retreat back and decide not to come. You know, once it's committed, it's got to come, it's got to go. And this is the space that a lot of us are in at this time. So courage, strength, bravery to face our fear and to proceed is coming forward. So this is sort of overlapping here as well with the Tiger Claw card, which brings a sense of assertiveness. And there might be some of us that need to step up and maybe put our foot down, maybe stand our ground, to speak up, to clear the air if something's not been comfortable or something's been a bit tense between us and others over a period of time. We might have an opportunity to confront and to face and to really show ourselves our strength. And I feel like this is really what it's about, because summoning our strength to push forward through the unknown and through the void, through that ice that's been melting that I talked about last week. It's probably going to be really valuable to us. There's a lot of action in this card too. So I'm thinking with the rabbit and then this card coming up, and probably a couple of the other cards actually to come, that there's potentially a lot of movement, a lot of action. Change is certainly in the air, and in fact it might not even be in the air anymore. There might still be change in the air, but there's change on the ground. So, you know, change is happening. Now, another card here as we wind up April and move into May, so from around Sunday, Monday, Tuesday coming up, is the Temple of Maya, card 51. It says manifestation, revelation, and purpose. This is about structure. It could be a literal structure, so a structure, a building or something that's taking place around you at this time that's not normal. It's not every day. Maybe something's happening in the building area for you around you that would highlight this. But it's also highlighting structure and finding structure and order in our life, especially amongst the chaos right now. The chaos is the uncertainty, it's the unknown, it's the change, it's the surprise. How am I going to cope with this sort of thing? So the chaos that seems quite rustled at the moment, it's quite present. We're being encouraged as we move out of this month and into May to find the order. It feels to me like it comes from the strength that we gain and the strength that we gather and the strength that we build personally. For some of us, maybe for you, it might mean that as the next couple of days pass on, you might feel like you just want to go and do some strength building. You might want to exercise. You might want to lift some weights, and you might want to physically get connected with that strength energy. You might be more on the, say, a mental strength where you want to start, you might be inspired to really start focusing your mental strength on whatever it is that you're doing, and try not to let distractions take you away from the task at hand. You might need to perhaps work with the power of your breath, to breathe some big powerful breaths in, maybe several times a day or throughout the day several times, to really feel and connect with your strength and your power, especially the power of breath and the power of the life force that your breath brings into your body, or other means of gathering your strength. So it feels to me like gathering our strength is going to be really important next step as we then prepare to, or we sort of takes us into that structure, that order that wants to come in. So the order in some cases, and for some of us, might be looking at our schedule and our routine, how we spend our time, look at our priorities and make some adjustments as needed. Are you wasting your time doing things? Are there things that are just time wasters at the moment? Is this necessary? It might be important, and something you're inspired to do is to detach from some of these distractions and really look at where you can focus your attention and where you can create more of that routine and that structure with your mind. So with those things that you're focusing on. Is this really important? Is this priority for you now? Yes, no, no. Okay, put it aside. Yes, focus on it. Simple. And sometimes it is that simple and sometimes it isn't. But, you know, that's sort of the thing that's coming up with this card. So the routine, the order, and finding structure in our life. There's purpose and meaning in this card too, but I feel it's more emphasized at this time around structure and finding order within the chaos. So how can you find the order? It will likely come from the strength that we gain. So the strength is also the increasing confidence. And, you know, it's interesting, the last sort of week or so, with things that have happened for me personally, which is not really a massive big deal, but they're important things at this time. It's funny, like moving into a space of doubt. So like I moved into a space of doubt, doubting in myself and then thinking I was to blame for something. But in reflection, I couldn't figure out anything that I could be to blame for with a specific situation. But I noticed my doubt that was creeping in because I didn't have information that my brain wanted. Doubt came in and tried to suck out my confidence. So when I realized that the doubt was lowering me, it was disempowering me, it was trying to take my confidence away, which I wasn't going to allow. I had to let the doubt go so I could let the confidence remain and stay at the fore, if you like, so that I could step into my responsibilities and step into that leadership and maintain my courage and strength to face what's going on at this time. So let's be careful too that our doubt or our lower thinking, our fear of the unknown or our panic of the change that's taking place at this time isn't trying to lower us, because it will. And it will try and suck all of that confidence out. So there is this rise in power that wants to come up so that we can move through this time period as best as we can. So we can pierce through that veil and align with I keep wanting to say our one true path. And it seems a bit strange to me to be saying that, but that's what feels very solid right now for our life's path, our one true path, and consolidating our energy to that. That is priority right now, instead of being distracted and pulled off track too much. We can't do that right now. We need to hone in. So this purpose, this meaning, and really honing in on our one true path, whatever that means, at this time might be important for some of us. Also, as we wind up April and we move into May, we have the Macaw, card 12, and it says bold and daring communication. So this is about speaking up. And there's bold and daring. There is a strength in that. If we're feeling timid and shy and hesitant and doubtful and unconfident and lacking in self-belief, we're probably going to sort of, you know, hesitate, like really hesitate, or not speak up when we need to. But there is this feeling here, and the same with the tiger claw, that we may need to be a bit assertive. We may need to stand our ground. We may need to speak up this week and be really bold and daring and confident in the words that we speak. And make sure they mean something, that we're not just blabbering on about whatever, that we're actually deeply embedded and connected with the words that we're saying, especially if we're confronting someone or if we're confronting ourselves. So there might be something in that we may need to confront ourselves this week. Have we been fooling ourselves? Have we been letting fear take over in our life? And have we been letting it stop? Have we been letting our wounds and our hurt from the past stop us from living today? These might be some things that we need to confront about ourselves so that we can move forward aligned and walking solidly on our one true path. Now, when I say one true path, it feels like a wide path, so like a wide pavement, probably about 2 meters, maybe 8 foot or something across, and it feels solid. It feels light, like a light concrete, let's say, but it feels solid ground. It feels light. and it feels wide. And it feels like it's calling us to really step confidently and assertively in some ways on that path, instead of having our mind and parts of ourselves scattered and off on tangents elsewhere, to really consolidate ourselves onto this path. Who knows where this path is taking us, because it seems unknown, void up ahead. But that's okay, because we can trust this path and we can walk it. Even if we can't see ahead, we can feel the solid ground under our feet. It's a bit like, just ahead, maybe a few meters ahead of where we stand on this path. It's like fog. It's like fog. But we see our path trailing into this fog, and then it's just foggy. So there is a lot of uncertainty right now, but we can trust in this solid path that's right under our feet, and we can trust the steps that we take one step at a time as we walk into that fog. And who knows, by the time we get a few meters ahead, the fog might be cleared. So there's nothing to really panic and worry about yet. Let's just keep taking one step at a time and deal with the facts as they're presented as we walk forward. Actually, that aligns perfectly with our last card here. And yes, I'm going to talk more about this path because this is the Stag card 42, and it says a new direction. And it's literally like when I drew this card, I saw this stag standing on its track. It was more like a track, like a deer track, standing there, ready to go in a new direction, basically. And some of us may be at a bit of a crossroads, or have been sort of fumbling through or fumbling towards a new direction, maybe not as clearly as we'd like to be. But I feel like this path that I talk about, that's really solid and wide and light under our feet, I feel like this is the new direction. And I feel in some ways we've been preparing for this. Like we've been preparing for it, maybe for some weeks, maybe some months, actually. Quite a few months maybe. We've been preparing for this. We've been getting ourselves ready unconsciously for what we're going through now and what's to come as we move into May. So we are actually on this new path. We are going in this new direction now. And now I can't help but emphasize and say again, let's avoid distractions. Let's detach from the things that are pulling us off our path, and attach or bring our attention to the things that bring us onto our path. So let's leave the chaos out if we can, and focus on the things that bring order. So it's like the path, even though we're walking towards the fog, the path is the solid ground. It's the order amongst the chaos. So the chaos is everything outside our path for the most part. So we can find the eye of the storm, find that path, feel it under our feet, and feel and establish or re-establish a connection with that path. The key is going to be in not only building our strength, but reconnecting with our body and feeling our path, like believing it, trusting it is right under our feet. We're not off track. We're exactly where we need to be right now. So maybe that's something to find acceptance with, or let go of the paths that we hoped we'd be walking, but we're not. The reality is we're not. So to find acceptance will also bring us into alignment with our path. So I would say, from what I'm feeling right now, and there's so much stuff going on, I think top priority is to re-strengthen ourselves, to not let our confidence be zapped or sucked out by our own doubt, is to strengthen however we need to, strengthen our body, strengthen our mind, strengthen our emotions, to strengthen ourselves. And then if it resonates with you, do what we need to do to align ourselves with our path, and to trust and know 100% with no doubt at all that our path is there right under our feet, and it is strong and it is solid. We are going somewhere. There is a future out there for us, even though it looks foggy and we don't know what's ahead. We don't know where this path is taking us, but we will survive. We will get through this one step at a time. So I'd be strengthening, getting on track, and then just keep proceeding forward, working through the things that are coming up at this time. So another big week. It's a big period of time. It always seems to be this time of the year. It's a powerful time of the year, actually. So thank you for connecting. I'm going to pull a card as our theme in a minute. So first of all, I want to thank you so much for joining me today. If you have enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up button. Please show us some love. Please comment, please share if you're inspired to. And if you'd like to connect more privately, then please send us a message through our website. We have massive Facebook suppression, like huge. For example, about 5 days ago, I opened my usual 4 readings for May, which sell out sometimes within an hour. I still have 1 left. Like, that's how massively suppressed the pages are, the posts are. So I've got 1 reading left for May. I'm going to be closing it at the end of the day because I'm going to start doing them tomorrow. So if you want a reading for May, a video one, please have a look on my website, templeofbalance.com.au. It's under the store tab, everything in the store. So you'll see that there if you are interested. If you'd like to grab yourself a deck or 2 of my cards, either deck, you can work with them on their own or together. Or I've got other decks as well. Please have a look on my website. I've got new earrings, porcelain and sterling silver little thingies here that I made. I've got new ceramics on my ceramics website, which is leannepeters.com. And yeah, lots of stuff, lots of resources, lots of things. Please visit my website if you haven't for a while, or if you'd like to learn more about me and the work I do here at Temple of Balance. Thank you so much. So, theme card. I feel resistant to pull it, so I'm just making that clear and putting that out there. It doesn't mean I'm not going to. I'm just saying I feel hesitant. I've got that deck in my hand. I don't really want to shuffle, but I'm going to. So I do feel a bit of resistance here. There's also energy moving in the throat. So there's a lot of truth probably that's going to be faced this week that's going to be difficult, and difficult to swallow potentially. You know, maybe some information from other people or some news that we get. Something feels like it's changing things, and that does bring a bit of grief with it. You know, there does feel to be a bit of loss and a bit of resistance, and it could be personal, it could be outer. There might be things happening in our life as well, but certainly on the inner. So as we strengthen ourselves and we align with our path, there may be some loss, some grief that we feel about our unmanifest goals and dreams that we know are not going to happen, that we have to come to terms with, so we can let those things go and we can align with what is top priority right now, which is strengthening ourselves and staying aligned with our path, doing the best that we can. In general, if you've got other stuff going on, this might not be top priority, but in general it feels that way. So the best card for the theme for this week, 26th of April through to the 2nd of May 2023, is, okay, the best card for our theme is this Speed of Light Oracle card. No wonder why I felt resistance to it. It's the Lizard. It's a featured card. I'm going to talk more about this in a minute. It really hits in the solar plexus. It has further instructions here which say to take the 3rd card from the top of the deck. So I don't have a choice now of cards, because whatever is number 3 is the card that's meant to go with this. And it's the Owl. Okay, that's interesting. All right, so first of all, so a big hit in the solar plexus chakra, which means there are things right now that are happening in our life that are trying to take our power away. So it could be drama and news. It could be things that we've got going on. It could be our own doubt. It could be wondering how we're going to get through the challenges right now in our life. It could be a myriad of things. But there is a hit in the solar plexus, which means that there is energy. There are forces that are trying to sabotage our need to strengthen and maintain or increase our confidence. So something to be aware of so that we don't let it succeed and don't let it win. So it wants to punch in. Now the Lizard card is card 3, and it says optimism, appearances, delusion and illusion. Things may not be as they appear. Things may not be as they seem, and things may not be as we think they are. And this is the thing, when we don't have information, when we don't have, say, reasons for things that make no sense, and it's just we jump to conclusions. So things may not be as we think they are. And this is something perhaps that we need to keep in mind this week, to see things for how they are and try not to jump to conclusions, try not to put assumptions on things or have expectations too much on things either. To see things for how they are, ask if we need to get more information, then ask, and it may be given, it may not be, and then we just need to be at peace with that. So we might be under some, what's the word I'm looking for? I want to say under some sort of spell. So yeah, that will be something, that will be a force or an energy that's trying to keep us out of our power and feeling powerless. And it can succeed if we let it. So it's a matter of bringing our strength up and our personal power up to the fore and letting that other side drop away. So things may not be as they appear. And we may have some letting go to do this week. And there might be some illusion around, things that seem real that actually aren't. And it comes up with this card, the Owl, card 47. That's called Persistence. It says patience, solution, question, answer, and night. And coming back to the very first card that came up, the pause card, this is about being patient with ourselves, patient with others, but also being persistent. Now is not the time to give up. In fact, if we give up, if we run, if we bolt, if we give up, which a part of ourselves probably wants to do, most likely, then we are probably buying into this energy of the Lizard card, that delusional energy. So if we give up, we're letting the powerlessness win. If we persist and we are patient, if required or as required, then we are finding the courage to walk through the difficult things that we're going through right now. And that is a strength. We might not feel very strong, but if we're still going and we're still upright and we're still trying, then we are stronger than we realise. It takes a lot of strength to let ourselves be vulnerable. In fact, sometimes we think it's stronger for us to actually shut the door and turn away. And in some cases it may be, but in some cases it isn't. So we're being encouraged this week not to give up, to keep persisting, keep being patient, and a solution is coming. To keep our dreams alive, even though we don't know probably much about what or where those dreams are taking us right now. So one step at a time as we move forward. So lots of stuff. I trust this supports you. Have a great week ahead, and I'll see you again soon. Take care. Bye.